Hi, I thought I'd make a quick video about a few things I've been thinking about over the last week or so. And I think, firstly, I've come to the conclusion that, that, that what I have got is ME. I know that some of my symptoms, at least to me and my understanding, don't seem to fit, but the main ones um, of cognitive problems and of feeling ill after short bits of exertion, whether they be mental or physical, do point to that. And anyhow, the more I thought about it, the more I realised in some ways it don't matter an awful lot. It does in other ways, but in terms of what can be done, it doesn't matter, simply because the majority of neurological illnesses can only be managed. Very few can be cured. Of course, if you've got a recognised one and you haven't got something that's been treated as psychiatric like ME has been, at least you get support and ongoing care, and that is the biggest difference. So I have settled in my mind that until something shows differently, I will accept what the third neurologist I saw, 2007, said, and that it's ME, and forget what others have tried to say about it, all the other opinions. So that's the first thing I wanted to just say. The second thing, I've been thinking about how badly I've managed my illness, and that I know that there isn't any cure for ME, but the vast majority of patients who have ME say that pacing is the thing to do. And I was thinking about how difficult I find that whole concept, because naturally I want to keep on going. And yet pacing means that you're supposed to only do up to a certain point and push no further, because you make yourself worse. And it goes entirely against everything that I've been taught from a child, which was that you're not a wimp, that you keep on doing as much as you can, and you push yourself when you just keep pushing yourself. And that's been the way that I've been operating since becoming ill. Now, pushing myself and what I'm able to do is still very small, but it's still me doing more than what I should be. Perhaps even making this video at this time is more than I should be. But I was thinking also in relationship of ME, between ME and men who have ME. Most people who have ME tend to be women. It seems to be predominantly women that it affects, and there is some suggestion that the more severe forms tend to affect women more, and it's not known exactly why. And what I'm going to say really, I hope comes across right, because I wanted to sort of put a man's perspective on this, and I obviously can't speak for how women experience the social side of this illness. I can only speak from my experience. So at the risk of being sexist or whatever, I wanted to sort of talk as a man who has a disease which is mainly considered to be a female disease. Unfortunately, ME is a gendered disease, and it's many, especially the psychiatrists, consider it to be a type of female hysteria, and unfortunately women tend to get less in terms of investigations than men, and it's wrong, but that is the fact of the matter. It shouldn't be so, but that's the way it is. But I was thinking about this whole thing of pacing, of what ME means, and the whole thing about the chronic fatigue syndrome and the stigma that surrounds that. And as men, we taught that needing to rest often is almost like weakness, and weakness is not something that men are supposed to show. It's not a trait that it is considered to be a good thing in a man. And I think some of the problems that I have, and I don't know if other men with ME have, is, and actually with other illnesses, is this problem of needing to push because that's what the manly thing is to do, is to keep going. And you get everything stripped away from you. You're brought up to believe you're the provider for your family, and your job's taken away. The jobs that you would normally do in terms of the more heavy jobs perhaps around the house that you wouldn't expect your wife. Now I'm talking in a way which might get up some people's noses, but it's the fact, it's the way we're socialised, that you can't do those things anymore. And it seems to me that ME not only strips away your sense of your life in terms of what you can do, but in some ways it strips away your sense of masculinity and of what's considered that men should be able to do. And I think that's one of the difficult things for me, and possibly other men find as well. Of course, it might be the case for women. I don't know. I can only talk from a male point of view. But it's as if everything, you lose some of your identity with this illness, and the thought of needing to keep resting, and the associations it has with weakness is just a difficult one to get your head around. Anyhow, it's strange how most people, in fact, whether they're male or female, find the whole business of pacing difficult because they want to continue. And this flies against what people like Simon Wesley and Michael Sharp and Peter Wise and other psychiatrists have tried to say, that it's about avoidance and about illness behaviour and about getting something out of it, because the vast majority of people with ME, be they male or female, the worst thing is their life is put on hold and they can no longer do things, and they find pacing really difficult because they just want to get on with their lives. And the tragedy is, of course, the more you push, the worse you make yourself. But the stigma involved in admitting I can't do this anymore is extremely difficult to deal with. In some ways, it's easier if you're bedridden and you can't get up. I'm not saying that's easy by any means, but in terms of having to pace yourself, than it is if you're still able to do something, because you are more likely to push yourself that much more. So I'm trying to learn the principles, trying to break things up and not do so much so quick, so much that I overdo it. But I'm not good at it. I'd be really interested to hear from other men who are struggling with this illness and how they deal with these issues. I'm sorry if it sounds as if I'm sort of being, I don't know, sexist, I think, by trying to make out there's differences. But I think that we do, that the way we're socialised does make us experience, males and females, does make us experience things in different ways. So I'd be interested in people's opinions. You can send me you can send me bad things as well if you want, but that's my thought for for today, and I will no doubt speak to you soon. Bye for now.